Good afternoon. I will review your warm-up. I will go over this step by step. It says that the first thing that we need to do is find the vertex, and so I just want to put a reminder. To get the vertex means that we're getting the highest or lowest point on the graph, and we start by getting x, and the x value we get by putting negative b over 2a. And so what that's going to look like, I got to go back to my problem, and I got to figure out what a is, what b is, and what c is. And so a is the number in front of x squared. A is the number in front of x squared. So there's no number here, but there's a negative. So we know that that is -1. B is the number in front of x. B is the number in front of x. So we know that that's a 2. And then C, of course, is 8. So when I'm finding the vertex, and I start by doing x equals -b over 2a, that would be -b would be -2. All over 2a is -1. Now I need to simplify that. So negative times 2 is -2. 2 times -1 is -2. Negative over negative is a positive. 2 over 2 is 1. So let me change colors here. My vertex x value is going to be 1. Now, to get the y value, plug the x value we just got into the equation. So our equation is y equals -x squared plus 2x plus 8. Y equals -1 squared plus 2 times 1 plus 8. And way back in pre-algebra, we learned something called PEMDAS, and that was parentheses and then exponents. And the reason I bring that up is because we're about to do some exponents right here. So that is y equals, I leave the negative because I haven't done anything with it yet, and the only thing I'm working with right now is that 1 squared. 1 squared means 1 times 1, and 1 times 1 equals 1. And now I've got this one over here totally separate, plus 2 plus 8. Okay, so notice this negative is still here because this negative is actually multiplication. It's like this, -1 times whatever we have. Negative times whatever we have. Exactly the same. So I got y equals, let's see, +2 and +8 is 10. -1 plus 10, y equals 9. So I've got my vertex. I've got the highest or lowest point on the graph. I've got the highest or lowest point on the graph. Right now, I don't know if it's the highest or lowest, but I know it's at 1, 9. So let's see. Find the vertex. I did that. Find the x-intercepts. And the way that we do that is by using Xbox. Okay. So let's start off with the x, and in the top of the x goes a times c. So that would be -1 times 8. -1 times 8. And b, which is 2. And so I got to ask myself, 8 can be 8 times 1, or it can be 4 times 2. But whichever one of these I use, I have to be able to get 2. So I'm going to go with 4 times 2. And as I take a sip of my tea, I realize that they can't both be positive, because +4 times +2 would equal +8. But I have to have -8. So I'm going to put my negative here, because 4 times -2 equals -8. And 4 minus 2 is 2. Always goes in the top left. Always goes in the bottom right. Those go wherever we want them to go. So let's see, I got an x here, but I know that one of them has to be negative. I think I'll make that one negative. So x times 4 would give me 4x. Negative x times 2 would give me -2x. And I think I've got my factors. And the final step when finding my x-intercepts is to just make each of those equal to 0. And solve for x. Subtract 2, subtract 2. Subtract 4. Now this one we have a negative x, so I got to get rid of the negative, and to do that I will divide by -1. So let's see what I end up with. I end up with x equals -2 and x equals 4. X equals -2 and x equals 4, and my vertex. Vertex 1, 9. X-intercepts -2. I don't want to write it like that. -2 and 4. Okay. So with that information, I can graph. Well, it ain't the prettiest parabola in the world, but it works. Well, now it doesn't. Let's see if I can fix that. All right, well, that didn't work. Let's try let's try that one more time. There we go. That's better. All right. And that's your warm-up.